systems. So our body has 12 bodily systems, right? So we have like our cardiovascular system, our renal system, our like lymphatic system, etc., etc., etc. When it comes to nutrition, there's only really two. Like my system is really based on two. Everything else is like it is relevant. All the food that you eat does interact with everything else. But there's two that I found that if you focus on them, it works really well. The first one is your digestive system, which is when you put food in here and it comes out here. So all of that is your digestive system, right? So the whole point of that digestive system is to extract nutrients from the food that we put in. So we all agree that when we put food in here, it comes down, we do all these cool processes, and we extract all the foods and we send them to the part of the body that we need. Now the second system that's really important that I use in my whole practice is the endocrine system. Anyone know what that means, endocrine system? So it's your hormonal system. So my whole basis of what I do with top level athletes, right down to everyday people like you and I, is I want to figure out when you're eating this food and you bring it in and you break it down and your body sends it, every time you do that, you get a hormonal response. Nothing happens in your body without a hormone telling it to happen. So like who remembers when we were like teenagers, or anyone have like teenagers at home and they're going through puberty? Yeah. And it's just like they're batshit crazy. Like that's just because their hormones are all out of whack and they're going nuts, right? When we feel hungry, that's a hormonal response. When we feel sad, that's a hormonal response. When we get upset, that's a hormonal response. When we're really happy. All of these things happen because hormones tell them to happen. So two things, digestive system and the endocrine system, okay? That's our first idea. The second idea, we can't really have a talk about nutrition without idea number two. Number two, which is your guys' favorite word, macros. So the macros, three macros are your carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Yeah, so I'm going to go through just a quick recap what they are, but we're going to think about them in terms of our two systems, of our digestive system and our endocrine system. So, if we talk about, let's say, carbohydrates, we'll cover carbs first, because carbs is like, everyone's the most interested in carbs. When you talk about protein and fat, whatever, right? It's cool, but whatever, tell me about carbs. And carbs, it takes a while to talk about because you have the response you get to carbs is very instant. So like if you eat carbohydrates, is everyone familiar with diabetes? Diabetes is pretty much when you have high blood sugars for too long, right? And that's a completely normal response that you eat carbs and your blood sugars go up. That happens within 20 minutes of eating. When we talk about fats and proteins in terms of these two systems, protein's a bit more of an acute response, like a fast response, but fats are really long. And carbs is like really fast though. So first of all, before we start talking about carbs, everyone know what a carb is? I get these questions all the time. Don't feel silly if you don't, because someone's asked me before, like, what's a carb? And I've been like,
bread.
Yeah, like I should know this. Like I should know. Carb is a sugar. Like no one likes to use that word sugar. Sugar is like, don't talk about sugar. Like all sugar is, forgive my drawing. All sugar is, anyone here do any chemistry back in the day or anything? Yeah, so you recognize that. So all it is just a little chemical. So we're not going to go into any chemistry, like I almost failed chemistry, we're not going to go into that. That's all it is. Like, you can call it whatever it want, really what it is, it's a sugar. So all carbohydrates, when we eat them, our body breaks it down into this little thing. So they'll always break it down back into that. But obviously there's different types of carbohydrates. So what we're going to break it into is two types. We're going to have fast carbohydrates and slow carbohydrates. Now remember, when we talk about all of these, our body always wants to break it down into this little thing, which is just one little molecule. And we do that because that's a really quick, fast energy system. So like carbs are really good for us, especially for like this type of training that you guys are doing, because like it's perfect for the energy system. It's really sharp. Like boxing is really quick, fast, and explosive. This fuel source is really quick, fast, and explosive. Like it's in your blood system in 20 minutes. Your body can use it really fast. That's why our body really likes carbohydrates. But so we have two types, fast and slow. We're not going to go into too much, but fast carbohydrates are just foods where there's either the food, the carbohydrate in the food is just one of these things, or two of them. So in terms of our digestive system, if there's only two of them, we can break it down really fast. We can eat that food, break it down really fast, throw it to wherever it needs to go, and it's there really fast. Even quicker if it's just one. So like those type of foods are like our honey, table sugar, maple syrup, we've got fruit, fructose in the fruit, and then like the carbohydrates in the milk. They're all like really fast carbohydrates because they've either got one or two of these. Does that make sense? So our digestive system wants this in this form. It doesn't have to do a lot when it's just one of them. So that's like honey, table sugar, maple syrup, fruit, milk. Okay? Those are types of fast carbs. Then we have these slow carbohydrates. And what we call them slow because they can actually be anywhere from 3 to 100 of these long. So in terms of our body breaking it down, and we can all appreciate that would take a while. Like all of a sudden we've got one or two of these, and then we put one that's like 100 long, and our body's going, whoa, come on dude, like this is going to take a while to break down. So these are things like our, what do you guys call it? Kumara, or sweet potato. And then things like oats, things like that. And then our cereals, our starches, potatoes, pumpkins, things like that. They're our slow carbs. And what they do is when our body breaks them down, the digestive system, they have to break them down back into these ones, so it takes a while. So that's why people say when you eat slow carbs, you release the energy more slow. Does that make sense? So now the next thing we need to go when we talk about carbs is we need to talk about the hormonal response. The hormonal response. So we know that carbs, fast or slow, whatever, they just want to get back to this thing. So what we do, say we take, let's say we take a piece of fruit. Has a couple of these ones in there. We eat them, eat the piece of fruit, chew, comes down here, goes into our stomach, goes into our small intestine, and then what our small intestine does is it breaks it down, and it puts it into our blood system. So we've just eaten this, 20 minutes later, we've got a couple of these guys floating all around our blood system, right? So it's circulating around, and then it's going to go past this guy, which is our pancreas. So just naturally, like our blood is always, you'll notice when you're boxing things here, your heart rate go up, it's just blood pumping all around your body. Same when we eat, the sugar goes around, hits our pancreas, and keeps going. And when it hits our pancreas is our hormonal response. It goes, hey, we've got some sugar in here, we need to put it away. So it releases, has anyone heard of the hormone insulin? Has everyone heard of insulin? So it's our body's main storage hormone. So when we think about carbohydrates, we now know the digestive system of it, and insulin is our hormonal response. So we eat these, break down into our body, go around, hit our pancreas, release insulin. So then insulin is a storage hormone. So it has, what it wants to do is put this little guy away. So there's three things that can happen. This is floating around in our body. If we're doing what we just did and we're whacking pads, moving around, our body needs that energy right away. Like that's pretty energy intensive, right? So we can all appreciate, like, that's hard. We need energy to get through that. If we were to eat an apple right before we did that, we would use that energy up really fast. But say, like, we're just at work, or we're just chilling out at home, and then we eat an apple, and it gets broken down, goes around in our circulation, hits our pancreas, and insulin comes out. So we're not being physically active, so we don't need that energy right away. There's two more options that it can do. Two things. So it can store it away in our muscles. This is option number one. We can store away in our muscles. Because we need to keep a reserve of energy, right? So this is like a reserve of quick, fast energy in case like we're asleep one night and like a bear crawls into our house and we need to jump out of bed and like run away from the bear. We need an energy reserve. So if we have enough space in there, we can just put it in there. The thing is, we have a limited amount of space in those muscles. So what our body does, the insulin will go around, we'll grab onto this little sugar and go, okay, we don't have any room left in our muscles. We've eaten carbs, keep eating, we put it all away, and we go, okay, what do we do now? These things are full. Our muscles are full. What it does, it goes, okay, we're going to throw it to the liver, and the liver goes, we're not going to waste this. Like, this is valuable energy. So So what your liver does is then turn it into fat. So there's three options. When we're eating our carbohydrate, when we're eating our foods, break it down, we release our insulin, there's three options. One, we're going to use it as quick, fast energy. Two, we're going to store it in our muscles as reserves in case we need to run from some bears or whatever. Or three, we've tapped out the other two, we don't need it for instant energy. We don't need it for a reserve, we don't need it after it's pulled up. So we're going to send it to our liver to turn into fat. Yeah? Everyone following on there? So we can quickly start to see how carbohydrates get a bad name. Can we see how if you eat too many carbohydrates too much, this gradient starts to go this way. We put it all in this circulatory system, we fill up this bad boy, and we keep eating them, and then where do they go? They've got to go back down here to the liver. And they're just going to keep making fat, because our body doesn't want to give it up, right? So that's our hormonal response to insulin. I'm going to give you guys 1 minute. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions. I want you to just think about that. Think about that in the system. And now thinking about that meal plan that I gave you guys, I want you to try and think about what are the fast carbs that are in that meal plan, and then what are the slow carbs. I'm not going to make you guys put your hands up or say it out loud or turn to a partner or whatever. I just want you to think okay, what are the fast carbs and what are the slow carbs that I've been eating on that meal plan? So think to yourself, I'm not going to turn this into some big discussion. And then I want you to think when would be an ideal time to eat those fast carbs, where we can get it in there really fast, and when would be a better time to eat those slower carbs? Don't have to say anything, just keep it and think about it. And now, I want you guys to think, how much carbs would you need before your body says, hey, I've got enough in my muscles, I'm going to send it to the liver to turn into fat? How would you even know? How would you even know that? How would you know? What signs would there be that you're eating too many? And then on the reverse of that, what signs are there that you're not eating enough? If you're not putting enough carbs in that system and you're not stocking that muscle, what would be the signs that you're not eating enough? Yeah. So I don't want you guys to just think about. These are the type of things that I want you to start thinking about in relation to your meal plans. So that's where we're going to leave it with carbs. We have a logic thing. So the next one I want to go on is fat. So carbs is by far the longest one we're going to talk about. Fats and proteins doesn't take as long to get over. Fats, I don't want to go over the chemistry of fats too much because it's super boring. It's just has everyone heard that fats are energy bombs? That there's a lot more energy in fat than there is protein carbs. Okay, so when you have, say you have 40 grams of fat, you're going to get the same amount of energy in that 40 grams of fat that you will in 100 grams of protein or carbohydrates. This is a lot of energy in fat. So you remember our little guy sugar? So this is essentially, you don't need to know, I'm not expecting you guys, I'm going to explain this. This is what a fat looks like compared to, this is our little sugar down here, which is just a few of these. These things will go on for ages and ages. Every one of these have energy in there. Fats have a lot of energy just because they're really long, big molecules, and they take our digestive system a long time to break down. So in terms of our digestion, fats aren't something that you really want to eat a lot of before training, or we want to go to training because they take a long time to break down and go through our system. Because this thing, if we're talking ideally about, they can go for 30, 40 things along that way. So it takes a long time for our digestive system to break it down and for us to use this energy. But then when we think, okay, digestive, we think of the hormonal response when we eat fat. So when we eat carbs, we get that quick hormonal response of insulin. We have all of this thing happening, and this goes over here, this goes down here, and we've got to figure out how much I need and how much I don't need. When we talk about fat, it's not, I don't think about it so much in terms of a short response, because it's not. It's a very long-term response. And when I talk about it, it's more to do with your body fat percentage. Now you guys would have known, I'm not sure, when I was young and going through university, the whole thing about fats was like there's good fats and bad fats. You guys all remember that? And it was like, don't eat the fats because it's like, it's going to give you cholesterol, it's going to clog your arteries. And now we kind of turned like full 180 on that, and everyone's like pro keto, eat the fats, they're really good for you. And it's like, the evidence is kind of like, I don't really know what to say here. All that stuff, like it just, to me, as someone who does this with like elite athletes, that's too confusing. I stay away from it all. It's like, I don't want to think about fats like that. Like, the researchers, the guys who are way smarter than me, don't even know what they're talking about, so I'm not going to think about it like that. So the way I think about fats is just two ways. Is it processed or is it not processed? So that's how I determine should you eat that fat or not. Processed fats, pizzas, all the good stuff, fried chips, burgers, my favourite, Krispy Kremes, churros, all those things, good fats, avocados, nuts, eggs, dairy, all good fats. So that's pretty much my whole system of determining, is that a good fat, is it fat? So I don't really need to worry about all the other things that we grew up listening, that's not one. And then when I think about it, I simplify it even more, because the hormonal response to fat is a long-term hormonal response. And when I talk about fat and protein, this is really the crux of my system. Hormonally, they're really powerful appetite regulators. And no one ever really talks about fat and protein in this way. So when we talk about fat, we store it in our body fat, right? That seems pretty simple. If you eat fat, break it down, we know that carbohydrates can get stored as fat as well. We can just store it around our body. So guys, we tend to store it here, and girls will store it like around here. Yeah, everyone agree? Like, you guys got your skin fold measurements done, like Rod or someone did it? It's just measuring your body fat, right? So that's what it is. So within that body fat, we have a hormone in there that's really important, that doesn't really get talked about like enough as it is, and that's leptin. Anyone heard of leptin here? Heard of leptin? Yeah, so leptin is like a part of this like whole family of like 20 different hormones that control our appetite, right? And it stays within our fat. And the whole premise of leptin is that the more body fat that we have, the more leptin we have. Makes sense, right? So if we have more body fat, we're going to produce more leptin. That controls our appetite. So we have body fats up here, leptin comes up here, it's going to send a message to our brain and say, hey dude, we have heaps of body fat, how about you save your energy and not go out into the savannah and start hunting things using your energy and stop searching for food. We're good, just relax a little. So when your body fat's up high, your leptin level's high, it's constantly sending signals to your brain to say, hey, you're good, you don't have to be starving, you won't get a really strong hunger response. But when our body fat comes down, our leptin levels come down. So that long-term the signal that's going to our brain saying, hey, we're good, that comes down. Now, if you guys have ever done a diet, Rod, you can probably appreciate this, if you've ever done like a weight cut yourself and you're bringing down your own body fat, you're hungry all the time. All the effing time. And if you've ever done a diet where you're bringing down your body fat, that's true. The leptin comes down with your body fat and you're just constantly hungry. Now I'm going to leave that just there. Like, just take a minute. All we need to remember from this, higher body fat, higher leptin, we're going to have that stronger appetite response. Circling around, higher leptin, we're good. We've got body fat, we don't need to go out and find food, we've got enough energy stores here. As that comes down, the body starts to freak out a bit and go, oh crap, body fat's getting low, we probably need to go out and find some like calorie-rich, nutrient-rich foods and top up that. So we're just going to leave that there for fat, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So the last macro we're going to talk about is protein. So protein, I say this to last every time because everyone knows what protein is. Like, what do we use protein for? Muscle growth. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that you build protein for muscles, right? For me, within my system that I use, even with athletes, I don't really care about that. Like, I do not care about protein for muscle, especially for what I do with my athletes. It's about performance and body composition. I use protein as an appetite for its appetite hormone response. So So protein foods. Does everyone know what protein foods are? Yeah, your meats, poultry, nuts, dairy. Everyone knows. Everyone knows protein foods. Standing everywhere. So what protein is essentially is amino acids. You guys ever heard of that? You ever heard of like branched chain amino acids, like BCAAs, like drink and stuff, essential amino acids? That's all protein is. And when we talk about protein, there's just 20 different amino acids that pretty much make up our whole body. Like our whole body is protein. When I say that, that's not an exaggeration. Like your skin, hair, nails, organs, everything. Your immune system, everything is built from protein. Your DNA is protein. And then that protein that's DNA makes other protein to make everything else that's your body. And it has 20 amino acids that it does. And all it does is say, you grab this amino acid, and it's like a recipe. Say I want to make a hair. I want to make a strand of hair. I'll grab all the amino acids out of my recipe book. I'm DNA, by the way, talking. So I'm going to grab all the amino acids out of my recipe book, and I'm just going to pluck this here, pluck this here, pluck this here, send it off here, we're going to make a hair still. Same with muscles. When we build muscles, there's a different recipe from the amino acids that we use to build muscles. We put them together. So that's why everyone always says, okay, in your diet you need lots and lots of protein, because we need it for everything. We literally need it for everything in our body. And don't get me wrong, that's really important. It's just the area that I work in is that most athletes aren't lacking in protein. That's just one thing, they're not lacking in protein. But what a lot of people don't talk about is the hormonal response of protein. And this is something so we've got carbohydrates, which is really fast. We've got our fats, which are really slow. Protein are also an instant hormone for your appetite, really fast. So I always use this example, right? So think about, have you guys ever been, you guys didn't have Sizzler over here. I think it's like an Italian, did you guys have Sizzler here? Yes. You guys had it? Yeah, okay. Do you remember going to Sizzler when you were a kid, and the first thing they bring you out is like a cheesy garlic bread? Yeah, they bring out the cheesy garlic bread, and it's awesome. And then you smash like 5 of them. And then what do? You go to the pasta. And then you smash the pasta bar. And then, what do you do again? You get back to the pasta. And then you get back to the pasta bar again. And then you go to that soft serve thing. And then you eat soft serve. And then you feel really sick at the end of the night because you overate. Everyone has that experience, right? Everyone knows that when you eat like pasta and stuff like that, you just keep eating and eating and eating. But think about when you went to like a nice steakhouse where you were at a barbecue and you had a nice steak. Like when did you ever call the waiter over and order a second steak? You never do. And this is something no one ever talks about with protein. And there's a reason that you don't order the second steak and that you can keep eating carbohydrates. When you eat carbohydrates, you don't get a hormonal appetite response. You get what's called like a dopamine response. Everyone heard of dopamine? Hey, okay, this is good. This is good because it got plastered all over the news not too long ago. Ever heard that saying that like sugar is just as addictive as cocaine? Has everyone heard that? I'm not like a neuroscientist. I don't know. I'm not going to say it is or it isn't or whatever. It's just like, but the idea is right. The idea is true, is that you eat carbohydrate foods, you don't get this appetite response, you get a dopamine response. So we can go to Sizzler and smash our cheesy garlic bread and nail all the pasta because it feels good. And we're just going to eat and eat and eat and we get this dopamine response. And the only thing that stops us eating is our stomach physically swells. Has everyone experienced this? We have stretch receptors in our stomach that swell up and then send a signal to your brain and go, whoa bro, chill out, and we're about to pop here. And that's when you get that indigestion when it goes through. Yeah, everyone has that experience. We never have that when we eat meat or when we eat steak. We never order that twice. And that's because when we eat steak, our stomach releases an appetite hormone called cholecystokinin. You don't need to remember that. Call it CCK for short. CCK for short. And what that does is it goes up into your brain and it tells your brain, hey dude, we've got some food coming. Relax, we're good. So that's why when we eat a steak, you finish your meal, you order it, you eat it. By the time you've spoken, that hormone's gone up to your brain, and you've said, hey, yeah, we're good. But when you finish, you're never like, yeah, I'm completely full. Like you're always like, yeah, I could definitely fit dessert in. I could for sure fit dessert in. It's not like a feeling of like, oh my god, I'm super, super full. Because we get really used to that expanded stomach feeling. And the thing is with carbohydrates, when you eat carbs, you don't release that hormone. You don't have any feedback saying, hey, stop. Stop, stop, stop. Whereas when we eat steak, we do. So I'm going to leave that there and we're going to come on to our last idea. And this ties everything in. And this pretty much gives away all my secrets of why I do this. And it's the idea, I'm not going to write it down, I'll say it, of being resistant or sensitive. So when we talk about our hormonal system, like what I just described is within a perfect system. This idea of being resistant to something or sensitive to these hormones is the reason why, from the example earlier, that if you give two people, say, an 1800 calorie diet and you give them the exact same amount of carbs, exact same amount of protein, exact same amount of fat, why you'll get two very different results. This is the why on why you get these different results. Why one of us could eat this and one of us could eat the exact same, and it'll work really well for me, but it won't work really well for you. It's this idea of resistance and sensitivity. So to go over this, what we're going to do is go over each one of these hormones. The carbohydrate hormone, insulin, the fat one, leptin, and CCK. So when we say resistant, what I mean by resistance is that it doesn't work as well. We don't get when we release the insulin, it just doesn't store as well. And when we say sensitive, all that means is that it works really well. The whole system works really, really well. So if we think about this, from everything I just said, we go back to our carbohydrates, and we think about our digestive response. So we eat them, we break it down, it goes into our system, break down that little sugar that goes around, it's floating around here, we hit our pancreas. What's the pancreas do? Releases the insulin. Okay, we release the insulin, we're on the same page here. Now let's look at this. Let's look at this. Again, we'll recap. Alright, so what were the three options that could happen? So the first one, so we just broke it down, we've eaten that food, broke it down, hit our pancreas, it's in there. So fast, the quick energy. So do we need this for quick energy? So quick energy, are we working out? The second thing that's going to think
Muscle storage.
was the storage in our muscles, right? So do we need to store it in our muscles in case we need to run from some bears or something? So do we need to, and what was the third one?
Liver.
Yeah, we're going to send it to the liver and turn into fat. Turn into fat. So they were our three responses after we eat this carbohydrate food, right? So let's look at someone who's a bit sensitive. So say we haven't worked out that day, we just ate our carbohydrate-rich food. We haven't worked out, so our muscles don't need the energy. That's out of the equation. We're not going to do that. Now we're sensitive to the action of insulin now. This person, for years and years, has, for whatever reason, we've put on too much weight, we've been inactive for so long that we've become resistant to insulin. The hormonal response is not going to work. So when we release that into our system, releases the insulin, insulin wants to store it away, but we're resistant to that action. So we're not going to store it in our muscles. Can't do that. So this thing is just floating around now. So what's there left for our body to do? Just put it to fat. Do we see how this all kind of ties in now? How this all kind of ties together? Now this kind of system is like, I use this with my high level athletes. And everyone always kind of talks about fats, proteins in terms of building muscle and exploding in workouts. But the way I think about it is you need to understand these hormonal responses. So if we've got someone like this who's resistant to the action of insulin, it's going around, and we're just going to store it as fat, and say we're doing this challenge and we want to lose weight. We want to lose weight. So if I see this person and they go, hey Jordy, I need a diet. And I go, hey, cool, how much do you weigh? 80 kilos, cool. I just had someone else who weighs 80 kilos. And they look like Rod. They're jacked. Like, they're super jacked. Like a body shape like that suggests to me that you're not insulin resistant, that you're very sensitive, and that that system works really well, and that you can store, you can quickly use that energy and burn it really fast, and you can store it away in your muscles. You've got bigger muscles, you've got more storage space. So you can get away with eating more carbs. So if Rod comes to me and says, hey, I need this diet, and I go, cool, I'll give, say, 1,800 calorie diet, X amount of carbs, blah, blah, blah. But then say, I don't know, we Rick and Morty this up in here, and then Rod's like, fat Xenoverse friend comes in or whatever, and then he rocks up, same weight, he's insulin resistant, and he says, hey, can I have a diet? I weigh 80 kilos as well. And I go, hey, great, yeah, I'll give you this 1,800, the exact same macros. Do you think it's going to work for both of them? Absolutely not. What do you think is going to happen? The guy that's resistant is going to go through this, and then he's going to come back to me in 6 to 8 weeks and go, yo, Jordy, what's up? Like, I'm worse off for eating that diet now. And then meanwhile, Rod is like, just getting more shredded going, Jordy, that was awesome, thanks for the diet. Yeah, you can start to see how it gets kind of pickly when we talk about macros. And this is why when people ask me about macros, I go, well, like, yeah, they're good, but they're not so good type thing. And then when we talk about this in terms of fat, so we think about this in terms of fat, our next one. Now we said with fat, the more body fat we have, the higher leptin we have, right? It's stored in our body fat. So we would think that the more body fat we have, it says to our brain, it goes, hey dude, we've got enough body fat, chill out, you know, we're good. We're good, right? And so when it brings down that leptin response, it goes down, we get the opposite. Now let's think that this person is resistant to the action of leptin. So this person has the high body fat, a high amount of leptin, that signal's coming, but we're blocking it. So that person is never getting the response that they're hungry. They're always hungry, right? That response where it says, hey dude, we're good, we don't need to go find food, is blocked. So they've got the high body fat, high levels of leptin, and that's blocked off. So they're resistant to the action of leptin. So what happens to that person? And you'll notice this if you see people, I would never say this in Australia, but we'll get back to it, but my housemate is a classic example of this. Like, she's mildly leptin resistant, it's a fact. She's always hungry, and she's like a chronic dieter, she's always dieting, and she's just always hungry, and it's because she's probably, more often than not, she's more than likely leptin resistant. That signal to her brain is blocked, and it's the one that says, hey, we're good, yet so she'll continue eating, putting on body fat, that leptin will keep going up, but we just won't be getting that response. Same thing again, if we have two people who are exactly the same, and they come to me and say, hey dude, I want to try like the keto diet. And I go, cool, it's not my job to tell you what type of diet, like I'm a performance nutritionist, you want to try the keto diet, I'll make it work for you, you'll perform. But I get two people that come to me, exact same thing. One of them's leptin resistant, one of them's leptin sensitive. I give them both like a high fat diet. Like what's going to happen between those two? One of them will deal with it really well, probably punch through that fat really well, respond like most people do on the keto, drop a bunch of weight, get really fit, at least in the short term. And then the other person won't, purely because they're resistant to that hormone. And that plays in when we talk about protein as well. That's our short-term appetite. So people who are resistant to CCK, that one that gets released from protein, they can eat all this food, they'll even eat protein foods, but they won't get that short-term appetite response. And they'll keep getting this dopamine response if they're eating, say they're eating steak and pasta and salad, they'll just keep because they're getting the dopamine response from the pasta, and from the steak they're not getting that response. So can you guys start to see how calories and macros, there's a little bit more to it. So we can't, so this is the whole point of this talk, is that I kind of call it like, dude, the grim talks, everyone leaves me, oh crap, what the heck, like, where am I at? The whole point of this talk is like this is my job. My job is pretty much people coming to me and then I need to figure out where you're at with it, and figure out what type of macro split will work for you, and what will work for you, and how do we have to do it, and then what we need to figure out is, okay, well, if you're doing this type of training, and you need energy, but I know that you're not going to deal with carbs, what can I give you? Okay, maybe I can give you those fast carbs before training, because I know when you work out, you're going to burn that energy straight away. But if I give you that first thing in the morning, like, what's going to happen? We're just going to run through this sequence and do that. So the next lot of meal plans that I release for you guys, and I'm not gonna say like, hey, you have to go do this. By all means, ask me and ask my opinion what you think. I'm gonna give you. And has anyone heard of like the body types, like the three, like ectomorph, mesomorph? I'm not the biggest fan of it because I think it's a bit simplistic. But it's essentially like that. Like a mesomorph is like a really jacked guy, like that guy that can eat anything and like eat it all and still have a six pack. They're usually very sensitive. Yeah. To like all about all. So you can probably get away eating like a lot more. And then we've got the ectomorphs that are like really tall and skinny. Yeah, really tall and skinny, and like they can just never seem to put on weight. And then we've got the endomorphs, which are like short, really short limbs, stocky. So all of those body shapes. And the thing is with those is they say you have to eat because of that body shape. I think that's kind of backwards, because I think you guys, athletes look the way they are because they've spent years training. They've spent years exposing themselves to a particular type of hormonal response where they've built up the muscle and they've built themselves into that body shape. So I don't think you're not just born ripped with like a six pack or something like that. You've worked on that for years and years. So when we have these different body shapes, it's my job to go, okay, what type of diet is going to work for your body and your hormonal system? What do we have to do if you don't deal with carbs well? How much do we have to put in so you can still... Has anyone ever tried like a low carb diet, no carb diet? Rod, you would have when you cut weight. It sucks, right? It's terrible. It's horrible. So you can't just cut them out. So we need to figure out when can I give them? When can I give that person carbs? Because I don't want this to happen. So that's why training is so important. Whoever says, someone says that thing where it's to lose weight is like 80% diet. I'm a dietitian, and I don't agree with that one bit. I really don't. I really don't think it's 80% diet. I think you need exercise, because the way that you're going to, if we're storing fat down here, the way to reverse that process, if we know that this system's going around, we've got this sugar going around, we can't store it. We need to burn energy. So we need to take out the energy from our stores. We need to take out the energy here. There's nothing. We have no gas in the tank up here. We're starting to work out. Where's our body going to pull energy from? Down here. So we can start to. And this just opens up a huge discussion. It's like, okay, well, how do we manipulate our training? Do we do like fasted workouts or high intense workouts, short, sharp workouts, so we can start moving this and hormonally start playing with your body's hormone and start. Okay, we know that we're a bit sensitive here. I can do this type of training and bounce back, move it. And this is really, people always say to me, like, how do you cut 20 kilos off someone in 8 weeks? It's it's a gimmick, right? I'm not really doing it. I just understand these systems really well. And I know where to push and where to take it, how much, and you can just keep doing that. If I did that for longer than 8 or 12 weeks, I'd kill these people. You would. You just can't do it, but I know enough to do it, and if anyone's ever seen someone make weight, they look terrible, and then you put it all back in, and then they put all that weight back on. They put 15 kilos back on in 24 hours. And that's all, and the only reason we can do that is because I understand the system, and you need to understand when they need to do different types of trainings, and when they need to put in the right amount of fuel, and when you need to play with one system and play with the other. Now, I always whenever I finish this talk with a group of people, they're like, oh man, you didn't answer any of my questions whatsoever. I'm all confused. And that's kind of good, because that's not what, I don't want to do a talk where you're like, okay, cool, I've got the perfect diet now, it's going to work, because it's just not going to, that's just not how it works. So what I'm going to do after this, when I go back home, I'm going to release another lot of diets. There's going to be 9 diets that I'm going to release out. And then you guys are going to have to pick which one you think works best for your body. based on the info and then based on these videos, the next few videos that I'm going to put up, I want you guys thinking about it. I want you guys thinking about those questions that we said a bit earlier. If you're thinking about what fast carbs you have in your diet right now, what are the slow carbs you have in your diet right now? When is the best time to have those fast carbs? When's the best time to have those slow carbs? How would I know if I'm putting in too much up here before it goes down here? Like what would I be feeling if that's the case? What would I be seeing on my body if that's the case? Or what would be happening if I'm overdoing it or underdoing it? What if I'm not putting enough in there and I'm going to work out? How would I feel? So that's what I want you guys to start thinking about. I don't really want to just hand you guys answers because, like I said at the start, nutrition is something you've got to do for the rest of your life. And like, you probably will, in 50 years or so, we'll probably have like something where I can look inside your body and go, you need this exact type of diet. Right now we don't have it. And this system that I use, the thing is that it works, and it works really well. And it's really simple, and people don't like it because it's simple. But once you get your head around these little factors, and we can start to understand this, and then we can start looking at our own body and going, okay, I don't actually handle carbs too well, or like, oh, I have noticed like when I'm not exercising, I'm eating this, I put on this amount of weight, so what can I do? Or I've got a really big training day today, I still want to stay on my diet, but I don't want to feel terrible during it. What should I eat? Or I'm going away with the family this weekend, like I'm not going to do any training, how should I adjust my diet for that? That's how I want you guys to start thinking. Alright, so I'm going to leave that there for tonight, guys. I want you to, if you have any questions, you don't have to stay in front of the group. We'll have 5 minutes now, but I'll stick around for a bit if you have anything. You just know that I'm going to put up, after all this, I'll put up a few more videos. That's a lot of info to take into. I'm going to put like a whole document up that summarizes all of that. I don't expect you guys to remember that. It'll take you 4 or 5 times hearing that before it sticks. And then after that, when I release these new diets out, I want you guys to look at them and be like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll start, maybe this diet suits me a bit better. Maybe this diet suits me. Okay, I don't do this. So that's what I want you guys to start thinking about, alright? If you got any questions, you can, shoot away.
So date, as a fruit,
Yep.
so I'd say that's fast.
Yep.
But if it's dry, is it now slow? Because it seems to be more like that's just
Dates medjool dates are like the ultimate fruit. Like this like system is like the base of like 100 chapters. This is like chapter 1 of like the sports nutrition book. Like dates are an excellent source because when we're talking about fast carbs, you can have like, I can do a whole lecture on just fast carbs before a training session. And like dates are great because not only, this little thing that we do, all dates are that thing, are going to be that. But like your body, when you eat them beforehand, they're going to be that fast carb. But the dates actually have 2 types of fast carbs. And if you put in different types of carbs, you can absorb it a bit faster. Yeah, so you can get into a whole host of more things. We're not going to get down there. But if there's any other questions, then yeah, be sure to let me know. If not, guys, like I'm just on my computer doing work all week, so shoot us a message and let us know. I'll be releasing out those meal plans at the end of this week. Any questions beforehand, and I'll talk you guys through. I'll recap all of this and put it up. Thanks for coming out. All these other talks are going to be the exact same as this one, so you don't have to come back again. So, alright, thank you guys. Class dismissed.
Can you still fire a couple of questions through?
Yeah.
Supplements.
Supplements, yeah.
Can you, so, the sub-store guys are always like, well, pre-workout, mixing with the amino acids, the PCBs.
So
Interesting.
So I like with like my fighters and stuff, I'll for sure use like carbohydrates during a workout. I mean, the theory behind amino acids, like BCAAs, I use them with all my fighters. The thing is, like, we're meant to, like, as a dietitian, I'm meant to be like evidence-based practice, and like, I don't know if anyone knows, like, there's no evidence about like the field I work with the fighters. Like, no one's going. I did a study a couple of weeks ago where we like tested a guy who cut weight before and after. And I'm pretty confident I'm going to lose my license once everyone else gets word of it. But like, there's no evidence. And the thing is with the amino acids is that the evidence kind of says it doesn't work. But remember what I was saying about the proteins, how they how you've got the 20 proteins and you're just mixing up like that recipe for your muscle. Your muscle has a recipe. So the different protein supplements, right? That's why we use, have you guys heard of whey protein, like whey protein isolate? So that's from cow's milk. And cow's milk has an amino acid profile very similar to the human muscle. So that's why they say whey protein is the best protein to have to build muscle, because the amino acids that you have from it, you break it down and it's just in your pool. So when your DNA wants to rebuild that muscle, it can just go, hey, I've got these ones right here. And then BCAAs, the theory behind it goes is that there's 3 of them. And so if you add these 3 to that pool, it's going to make that process of building the muscle faster. Like, that's not proven, but like I give all my athletes BCAAs. Like, I've never heard anyone like negative effects of BCAAs. So in my head, it's like, it's not doing any harm. Why? Even if it doesn't give you a benefit, in like 10 years time they go, nah, that didn't work. What if in 10 years time they go, oh crap, all this time we're saying it doesn't work, and then we weren't doing it. Like, I'm not playing that risk. Like, when you're at UFC, like 1% matters. So like, I give all my guys that. During workout, your carbohydrates. This is a really good example I tell all my guys. And you guys, doing fight camp, it's really cool that you guys are doing this, because like, I always say this, like fighters and fighter training is way more intense than any other sport you'll ever do. I've worked with every other sport you can think of. Like, I played rugby for like 15 years. I've never once in a rugby session been like, F this, I want to stop. Like, I get that like once a week doing like this type of training. And you're like yeah, once a day. Like, but it's really hard. And the thing is like, and like if you guys continue on this and you like do training, like if you go from say like, you do 1 session for an hour, say you're doing wrestling and then you do like a Muay Thai session with 3 hours of training, your body can burn up to 400 grams of carbohydrates. Now this is when nutrition gets a bit weird, because you say that and you're like, oh, I don't actually know how much that is. But like 400 grams, say you burnt that in 1 training session, 1 foot-long sub from Subway has 80 grams of carbohydrates. So you burnt through 400, so 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Who do you know that's eating 5 foot-long subs straight after a training session? But when my job, when you're talking about performance nutrition and bringing weight down, like my guys that fight really high level, I need them getting that carbohydrate back in. So my job is to get that carbohydrate in and keep them fueled, but I need them losing weight. So that's like when it comes on this thing, it's like I need to know exactly what they're losing, and that's like why I do these tests. So during a workout, I would say, okay, you need to be drinking, like sipping on a carbohydrate drink, because I need you getting those carbohydrates in. Because no one in their right mind is sitting down after a training session eating 5 foot-long subs. But you can convince people to sip on drinks during it. And then it's lucky, and then you think like, well, how do I know how much I've burnt? And like, I'm lucky because like, I got results this morning, I'll pull them up, of I can put people on tests and figure out exactly how much they're burning. So I got this result, I don't know if you guys can see it, it's like, so one of my guys down at the lab like sent me this of one of my girl boxes. And I sent her to get tested, and she said, okay, resting metabolic rate per day, 1,397 calories. That's how much she burns a day. So REI, we don't need to know that. Carbohydrates, 201 grams, fat, 61 grams. So at rest, I know exactly how much she burns. So then I can put heart rate monitors, I can do other things, and I can monitor her, and each session figure out exactly how many carbs she's burning, exactly how much fat, and then I'm replacing exactly that and nothing else, because I need her to lose weight. So when we're talking about getting very, like this is just the beginning, this is chapter 1. And then you get very specific, because when it comes to doing my job and making weight and still performing, you can't like be off by 20 grams because you get to fight week and you're half a kilo heavier than what you should be. If you've ever like had to lose half a kilo, it's really hard. It's really hard. So you have to be really specific. But then again, for people like you and me and everyday people, we don't have access to this. So that's why it's like trial and error with these different macro splits, and then trying, okay, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. Okay, this 1,800 calorie didn't work, but I'm not going to throw it away because I think 1,800 calories works for me, but maybe I'll just I was doing too little carbs because I was super tired all day, and like I got to my sessions, I felt crappy. So maybe I'm going to bump up the carbs and I'll bring down the fat. And let's see how that works out for me. And that's really what I want you guys to start doing. Because like, you're gonna be doing this for the rest of your life. Like, you got plenty of time. And it's cool, once you do it, like, and Rod and you guys, everyone that fights, like, every one of us that drops weight, it's crazy. It's crazy to see when you get this right, and you find like the foods that work for you, and you look at the scales, and you're like, man, I don't feel too bad. And this weight's like coming off, and you're like, this is crazy. And all you're doing is just eating to your body's systems. You're just eating, but it's really hard to do if you don't know any of this. But none of this sells. Like, I couldn't put this, like, I couldn't sell this in a supplement store.
Next to a Big Mac.
Yeah, no, it's not exciting. Like, it doesn't get people up and down jumping, but it works. But, you know, protein supplements sell. But that's essentially what I want you guys to do. Yeah, if there's any other questions, I'll talk about this stuff all night. So, if there's any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, just shoot me a message and, yeah.
What's the BCAA would you recommend?
Oh, they're all the same. So there's only 3 of them. So I think it's like tryptophan, lysine, and something else. Tryptophan. Oh yeah, I prefer powder form. Powder form is usually good. All you're doing is that there's like I'm pretty sure it's the leucine. Sorry, leucine. The leucine seems to be the one that when you're in that amino acid pool, it seems to stimulate the muscle growth a bit more. Again, like, that's the evidence. The man doesn't seem to think so, but man, it's stuff the man. Like, if it gives you 1% more advantage, then I'm all for it. There's no harm for it. Yeah, any brand of BCA, you're really looking for 5 grams. Look on the back and just look for 5 grams. I'm going to put up a bunch of things as well for you guys, like reading nutrition labels. I find that's really hard. Like, when you look at something and you're like, oh, that's like low carb, and then you look at the ingredients and you're like, holy crap, like, what is all this stuff? Like, my philosophy on it is like, if you don't understand like more than half the words, don't buy it. And like, I look at it, and I've like been doing this a long time, and I go, oh man, I don't even know what that is. So it's like, I don't want to put that in my body. So I'll put something up there. I think Rod said to me, and one of our first conversations, like, you can think about all this, and most of the time, like, the diet, I'll come out and say it, like, the diet, what you guys are on right now, I call it my generic split. And all it is it's 30% of each macro. 30, 30, 30. And a lot of people respond really, really well to it. If you've never dieted and you jump on a 30, 30, 30, and it's not even because the macros, it's got nothing to do with the macros, it's more because you're eating cleaner foods. You're eating more structured, you're eating more regularly. Like, there's so many small, simple things that you can do and tidy up with your diet before you have to start thinking about this. Like, before I do anything with anyone, the first 3 credits is like sleep, stress, and water. I say, do you drink enough water? Do you sleep enough? And how stressed out are you? And they're like, oh man, work's really busy. I'm like, dude, see me in 6 months. Like, we're not going to get anything done. So there's like, I'll talk all night about this. I don't mind sitting here, but if you guys have any other questions about anything, like, just shoot it through, let me know, and yeah, I'll release those plans this week. So yeah, thanks for coming down and listening to me babble on. I'm going to call it here, otherwise I'll chat all night, and you guys won't get home.
What was so you said the 30-30-30 for the first split?
Yep,
so
this first plan
is there like a rule for your next one? Like a gym?
Yeah. So I pretty much split, like, there's going to be like the super jack guy who like can have like, you know, about 40% carbs, 30% fat. That'll work for some people. This is really cool. Like, obviously I'm speaking from like a spot where I've done this with loads and loads of people, so I can see, like, I know these next ones, they're the most likely ones that'll work. It's just figuring out which one will work for you. There's one that's like a lower carb, which is like 25%, and it's higher fat. Some people will respond. That's why when people jump on the keto diet, like, there's always like 2 conversations you'll have with the keto diet. It's like, oh, it was awesome, I loved it, I lost a bunch of weight, and it was like, that was the worst time of my life, I hated it, blah blah blah. Like, and it's just to this. It's just about this. Like, and if it works for you, that's why, like, I don't care. Like, if that works for you, I don't look at it and see like, okay, keto diet's like, well, it just works in this system, so that works for you. But the thing is with this whole system is like, it's a spectrum, right? So like, there's the resistant and sensitive, and you're probably somewhere in between here. And as you keep dieting and keep going, you're going to move along that spectrum. So that's why you have to keep reassessing it. I always say to people, it's like strength and conditioning, or like this type of training. Like, this training with Rod is like hard, right? But if you guys did this for 6 months straight, you'd get through it pretty easy. But like, Rod's too cruel and he knows that. So, but he's gonna keep making it harder every session so your body adapts. Same with your nutrition. Like you have to keep pushing it. If you want to keep losing weight, you've got to keep changing that macro split and keep reassessing because where your hormones will go, which ain't the same with you if you stop. Like if anyone's ever been injured or taken time off from sport and you can't move and then you kind of get a bit relaxed with your diet, like you notice it, hey? Like you start pushing up and like you go for a run, you're like, Jesus Christ, I'm walking up the stairs, like this is normal. And it's because like those hormones and all the enzymes in your muscles that are upregulated with your activity and your diet go away. Ever heard of like the term use it or lose it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very true. Like everything, like it's very true. Like bodybuilders, like they will deflate if they stop doing it. Same with your nutrition. You can go really, really well for 6 months and then you stop doing it and 2 months later all your hormones rebalance and go back to the other way. So yeah, like I said guys, it's something that you really want to do it's a lifetime thing. It's something you want to do like the rest of your life. So it's cool, and that's why it's cool to kind of do this in this controlled environment where you can play with these like macro splits and you've got a bunch of people to bounce ideas off and be like, hey, like that one, I'm trying this out, like do you think it worked? And you're like, oh man, I tried this before training and I barfed everywhere and it was super embarrassing. Like oh, actually you should try this instead. Like, so that's why it's really cool for these type of setups to try out these things. So yeah. Any other burning questions?
Just real quickly, so sleep, what do you recommend per night, and stress?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard there's some supplements out there that help you reduce the effects of stress.
Yeah, with those two things, it's like do as I say, not as what I do type thing. Like I don't really sleep a lot, and I'm a real stress head. So if you find the answer, let me know. But no, it's the thing. Like melatonin's meant to work really well. This is the thing. I think Gabe put up something, didn't he, on the Facebook group? And that was really good. It's like the quality of sleep.
Can't buy melatonin in New Zealand.
Oh, you
You
can't.
gotta ship it in illegally.
Give me your address.
You get 5-HTP.
Okay, yeah, 5-HTP, like same thing. Like that's like the precursor to it. Try that, but yeah, it's really like sleep. When it's sleep, it's the quality of sleep. Have you guys ever like been in bed for like 12 hours and then woke up and it was like you haven't slept a wink? It's like you have phases. There's like a ring that comes out now that this guy that I work with in the US was telling me about. It like monitors how you sleep. Like they're definitely worth doing. Like check your sleep pattern and you can tell how heavy you are in your sleep. There's another app that records you if you talk in your sleep. And you'll only talk in your sleep if you're at a certain like depth of sleep.
Mm.
So like it's cool. So like if you start talking in your sleep, it means you're getting good sleep. So it's kind of like you're doing the right thing. And it's pretty funny. Like it's pretty jokes as well. But yeah, sleep and stress. There's so many things. Like it's so individual too. What I tell you, like have a cup of tea. That's like have a hot cup of tea. Do some breathing exercise. Like I don't know. It could work for you. It might not. Like I got that. I'm a stress head. Nutritionally wise, I'm not too sure. If you find out, let me know for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks guys. Well, I'll see you tomorrow night.